Boys is getting quiet. Go on and get crunk. Head back to Longview, Kelly popping trunk. I ain't even tripping. Riding and I'm sipping. Let me come through, 4-4 steady tipping. On that new lap. Watch the trunk crack. Let me sit sideways, CB running back. Maybe AP, maybe AD. I ain't even tripping cause we some athletes. Messing with Smitty in the summertime. He get pissed if we don't make our time. But we gon' get it, cause we gotta finish. Nebraska Horn Hustlers, man, we diminished. Put them boys little, paint like a skittle. I ain't even tripping, I ain't never double dribble. Cause I'm a player from the Himalaya. Let me sit sideways, man. Maybe back door, maybe fall off. Sipping codeine cause I gotta kill a cough. Let me sit sideways in the big Benz. Oh, you boys, they my brothers, they my friends.
All right. Welcome into Fullback U, and this is going to be an amazing podcast. I can't really even begin to explain. My brother Will Peoples, how you doing, Will?
Man, I'm good. I can't complain. At the end of the day, people like you, JD, you give me hope in people. And I'm so proud of you. I've seen the work you put in, not only on the field but off the field, and it inspires me, to make a difference out here.
Man, well, I really said, like, I don't know how to explain our relationship. Will, our friendship, just a brotherhood. It was a weird start because you were so quiet. I just knew you as this dude that from Houston, humble. We would hear about playing with David Boston in high school. You walk around with this huge dip in your mouth like it didn't faze you. I'm like, just talk to me about, let's start there. When you got to OU, man, what was that like through your recruiting process? Let me know.
Wow. Yeah. The recruiting process was awesome. Shout out to Quentin Griffin and Jarvis Smith and all those Texas guys because D Straight and those guys. I remember showing up and I was like, man, all these guys are from Texas, and I played against these guys in the Houston area and just had so much respect for those guys, and so it was really a home away from home. I had a lot of firsts. I grew up with a single mom who was very strict, really into church and very disciplined. And then when I got to college, it was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is great. But my brothers, they kept me in line as best they could. They had my back, and they still do, and I don't know. It was an interesting process. I remember Bob Stoops showing up in my living room. Here I am, single mom, me and my brother, 400 square foot apartment, 1 bedroom. Wow. And Bob's in there. And the week before, Mac Brown was in there, right? He comes in there with a $10,000 suit on, makeup on his face. And I was like, who is this guy, And here comes Bob and Coach Jonathan Hayes, and they just, man, they were so welcoming and sold us on the program by just being genuine. And I got there and it was awesome. I'm thankful. My receivers coach was Steve Spurrier Jr. when I came in. Talking about Mr. Lord, this guy, I don't know how he does that, where does he get all that positive energy from, but man, all that whole experience being recruited was awesome. I had a great experience and I have no regrets, coming from Humble, where David Boston and David Givens, all these great Houston, these guys went to my high school, and just that lineage and that is just, I never felt I could live up to it, but I tried my best, but I've had a lot of great examples around me, a lot of really great role models. I'm super, super fortunate. Actually one of the superstars from my high school, he actually just passed away. Yeah. His name was Leo Mills. This was back when, I graduated in 2000. So, Rivals and all this social media stuff really wasn't a thing yet. And everyone knew like Leo was like one of the top running backs in the nation, and he was one of the first 5-star athletes, and he hosted me when I was getting recruited at Arizona. He hosted me, and we had a great relationship. But he's not here anymore. And it's just those things like that. It just kind of keeps things in perspective. And I'm like, man, we got to get some football going, because I'm out here in the real world, man, and it's tough. It's tough. So thank you for inviting me for this, because honestly, this is therapeutic for me. And and watching the others, I've consumed so much of your content. It's awesome. I can see it evolving. It's so neat. And man, you're doing really great things, JD. You really are. And also to your bridge builder, man, you're building bridges. How many people are doing that? Every man for himself type mentality, which I get it, right? But thank God for men like you. Oh man, I would hug you, but we're quarantining and you're way over there, brother.
I don't give a damn. Corona. Next time I see you, I'm hugging you anyway, man. And I just want everybody to know.
Put that mask on.
Yeah, I got you. But just so everybody knows, every time Willie P calls me, I'm at school teaching, I'm at school coaching, I'm doing something. So I mean, so he understands, and you've been a coach, and I want to obviously talk to you about that. But I got to get to the receiver room. If there was any room that I could be in besides the tight end fullback room, I'd want to be in the receiver room. Why is that, Willie P? Why was it so fun down there? What was going on? Y'all got y'all's work done, but you, BJ, you have a distinct laugh, Willie P. And we were right next door to y'all. And I mean, it was too much, man. You, MC, BJ, let me know. T. Willie, let me know what that was like.
Man, here's the thing. The receiver room, first of all, it started with the receivers that came before us. They paved the way for us. You got Antoine Savage, Curtis Fagan, Damian Mackey, Josh Norman. Listen, man, John Connor. This dude was a workout warrior.
JC.
Like, it's like things like that. People don't understand this stuff. Man, if you can't make it through those workouts, you're not going to get on the field.
Man.
And John was the guy that would say, hey, Willie P, you can do it, man. Come on, But even before those guys, right, we got Jarrell Jackson, Brandon Daniels. These guys, these guys were really great leaders. They really were. As I've gotten older and I look back, I'm like, wow, man, I was really fortunate to be in there. So when guys like Mark Clayton emerged and just, Brandon Jones and even Mark Bradley transferring in, doing his thing. And then we got guys that weren't on the field as much, but they were intricate, Talia Ford, and then some of the walk-on guys, Ryan Daniels, just like Buck Skyfors. Oh man, it's you're bringing back really good memories. I'll never forget Bob saying that the friendships you make in this room are gonna last forever. And he's so right. Experience in corporate America and being out here, you try to have these relationships, but it's not the same.
Man,
these folks, I'm not saying they don't go through stuff, but like the things that we've done and accomplished together as a team, But how was that room, laughter and stuff? Just a mindset, right? It was competitive. You either laugh or you cry, and we're not crying. So we laughed and we competed. And I say, Spurrier Jr. did a really good job of making us respect history. We would go back and we would look at the film of the schools that he was at before. Those early Florida teams, I feel like those were the really first that I can think of, like really, really good receiving cores. Not just one guy with all the stats, but like
Hilliard, Anthony, Jaquez Green, just Rex throwing the ball to everybody.
Whole core of dudes that would just go off on me. For sure. And but I'll say too, JD, you had an intricate part too in the game. Our tight ends and our fullback game was top notch. It was top notch. And now you see the people are coveting for those type of athletes that could go knock the heck out of somebody and then catch the ball at the backfield because it makes so many mismatches, you know. But you were one of the first guys I see really be that, you know, at a high level, you know. And Coach Wyatt, too, credit to him. I remember
Brought
watching.
that dog out of
I don't
y'all.
know what game.
He brought that dog out of y'all.
Yeah, I remember I scored a touchdown doing something good, made an adjustment, and he like it wasn't good enough, you know. And I'm like, man, what's wrong with this guy? You know what I mean? Like, there's not a handful of guys in the country that could have made that play. I did that, but it wasn't good enough. And I get it now, but at the time, you know, it's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? And so that's why, you know, for all the coaches out there now, man, coach them hard. You know, love them, coach them hard. When they get older, hopefully they'll reach back and understand and respect. But at the time, you're not there to make friends. You're not there to make friends. You're trying to get the best out of these people, you know. And like Coach, like, I mean, I go back to what Coach Stu says. He's got a lot of stuff that stuck with me, you know. And at the time, he probably thought, man, this kid isn't hearing none of this stuff. But, you know, I've had people in my life over the years come and water that seed that he planted in me. And he said that, you know, it's bigger than us, you know, going undefeated in 2000, win a championship. And then my first loss as a Sooner was at home to Oklahoma State. Rashawn Woods in the corner, man, you know, it was devastating. It was devastating. My roommate, Derek Strait, you know, he was covering them, great coverage, you know. And I remember walking off that field and I saw my eyes landed on this kid by the tunnel. He had to have been 4 or 5, and he was crying. He was crying, man. And then we got to our apartment, and you know what D Strait does? He's watching film. This guy's watching film.
Yep.
So, you know. I mean, I'm kind of bouncing around, but, you know, at the end of the day, that receiving room, we had a lot of fun. You know, Coach Wyatt did a good job of taking us to the next level, I would say. But shout out to, again, those older receivers. They were pros. They were pros in college. We were competing for their jobs, man. I was coming. I wanted to play. I don't care. Get me on the field, Coach. What can I do? I'm in there. Everything, man. I'm in there with a notepad asking questions after. I'm trying to do extra stuff, you know, and over time, you know, between injuries from others before me or whatever, like I started getting on the field. But like those guys, they still showed us love. MC's playing young, DJ's playing young, and those guys had to give up some of their playing time. You know, Damian had some concussion issues. Man, he was still so supportive. These guys, I'm thankful. I'm thankful because every program is not like that.
That's real.
Right?
Ooh. Yeah, real. Well, let me go through a few things. You're so right. Curtis Fagan and Antoine Savage, from what I saw of them their senior year, wasn't a bunch of talking, was so much action. So much action. Just ready for it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know you were going to give me a little bit of credit from Coach Wyatt. He was a big fan of mine, and you know, obviously would have some big hits, and I'm sure he would rewind them, and y'all get a few laughs out of it. But Willie P, I mean, people laugh, but dude, you were a great player. MC was a great player. T Money was a great player. They wanted to go 4 wide a ton. The only way JD gets on the field is to light people up. And then, I mean, it helps us. You mentioned the tight end crew, bringing in Chester, who ends up going and playing a decade in the league. I mean, we had depth, man. Let me go into that. You talk about the style of play that we had, the style that you see now. I'm sure you watch all the games, but is it that? Do you agree with? Do you like what they're doing right now? Obviously, Lincoln's getting coveted by everybody, but are you still a smash mouth guy? Do you like the spread? Let me know your current thoughts of the game.
You know, this is a controversial topic, right? I remember Bob saying this, and I got a lot of Bob quotes.
Ooh, go ahead.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Ooh. I've heard that one a million times.
Who am I? I'm an outsider. Who am I to come and say anything besides keep it going?
Real.
Support them people.
Real. Absolutely.
But, you know, I'll say, you know, what I see, you know, I see a lot of innovation. It's competitive. It's competitive. It's competitive. You know, the game has evolved The athlete has evolved. I've seen some of those current Sooners. Oh, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. They're like 6. They're tall. They're fast. They got muscles. They got they have all these things that I didn't have that. You know, look at the 2000 national championship team. You talking about a team that didn't have I would say the on paper look compared to now, and even when we were there and all
Very
that.
fair. Very fair.
But they won that thing.
Right.
They won it. So what is that? What's that? That's the stuff. That's the intangible, invisible stuff that if someone can figure out how to harness that, and you can see some of the other programs have done that, but it's competitive.
Yeah.
You know, it's competitive.
Yeah. I want to know what your favorite play was at OU. So the play that you made, and then your favorite play call, because I know you were X's and O's guy. So let me know, was it one of your scoop and scores? Was it a touchdown catch? Oh man, I'm guessing one of your touchdown catches against Texas. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, shout out to Jerry Schmidt. We would have such hard workouts. One of the things that got me through was how he motivated. He would say, "Hey, Peeps, man, listen." He'll come whisper to me. He'd be like, "Hey, Peeps, man, just imagine, 3rd and long. We're at OU, Texas. We're down by 3. Jay White's or Nate Hibble's going to throw you the ball."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, man. And I would get through the workouts with that type of, vision. So, yeah, the OU Texas game, I'm a Texas kid. I actually grew up in Austin in my younger years, and then I wound up moving to H-Town.
I didn't know that.
So that was really the only time, because these TV networks at the time, it was pretty regional. And so a lot of my family only really watched OU Texas. My friends and stuff. I mean, I still get messages to this day, people talking about the OU Texas game. Man, I remember rolling in on that bus and the fair. And you come in, you're like, whoa, is all that orange? You're like, man, what is – I mean, this is hostile territory, bud. And then you see that crimson, baby, and you just, man, that goosebumps start coming on. You be like, yeah. You see kids from your class in there calling your name. You're like, oh, we're gonna put on the show. You're gonna put on the show, man.
Yeah.
And I'll say, I thought, what was my favorite play? I mean, the Texas experience, being a Texas kid. My uncle actually was a police officer down, served for 29 years down there in Austin, police sergeant. And he actually, those guys, those bodyguard guys that walk out with the head coach, like my uncle would do that.
Nice.
So before the Texas game, he would come give me a hug and stuff. And, I could see those Texas guys in the locker room, like looking like, oh man, we're going to kill your little nephew, but it was cool. I would say that experience, I think it was that, just that rivalry, the respect I had for that program. I can hear Jackie Shipp doing the how they would do the scouting report.
Mm-hmm.
Before he would do Texas, I feel like he would do Texas, and I feel like he would do Okie State. Man, he did such a great job of that. I mean,
knew
I
everybody.
would get so engaged.
Yeah, knew everybody, knew everything. This is who they're going to expect. You need to expect this. This is guy does this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that is exactly. You're right. You're right. He was one of the best at that.
Yeah, man, it was a fight, and I love a good fight, JD. I love a good fight.
Don't we all?
Just coming from my background, not having much, single mom and stuff. Hey, listen. Half of my family we got a bunch of trash talkers in my family. We talk a lot of smack, and it was a lot of smack talking. I remember being in the special teams room after that first year because as redshirt freshman, I played all special teams. I didn't even play wide receiver, and Coach Venables, Coach Stoops, thank you for the opportunity to get on the field because man, I wouldn't have got on the field. All the receivers were too good. So that was the only way I could get on the field, and they helped me to understand how important special teams were, and so, talking about some of the greatest plays, yeah, it was a touchdown versus Texas, but it was one of the plays, somebody go back and do the research maybe if it's, but there was a punt and I ran down to down the ball and I caught it. It was flying into the end zone and I jumped at like the 1 yard line and I flipped it behind me and it landed on the pylon. And then like 2 or 3 plays later, you got the Superman play and all that stuff,
Never happened, huh?
And so all that stuff matters. Little old me, little old me running down on special teams can make a difference to help the other guys make the Superman plays and stuff, and so everybody's important, everybody's important. So those are, I think, some of my most special plays, I would say, that are man, when I think about it, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
We
got to get into a few more things now that you brought up BV. I got to ask, what was that defense like, Willie P, when you were there? What was BV and Mike like? Do we miss BV being gone? What do you think of the new defense? Let me know all that.
The game is competitive. The game evolves. I'll say this. In 2000, we won the championship. We had a pretty good scout team. These things, I think people forget. Everyone's important.
That matters.
We really tried to destroy those guys. And, you got Mark Clayton. This guy's Bolitnikoff finalist. We love this guy. I would say he's probably one of my best friends to this day. Gosh, I love that dude.
Love MC, man.
Then you got, I'm pretty sure Jason White was our quarterback. I mean, you got like Jamal Brown playing O-line.
Wes Sims.
I feel like people forget about Jared Estes. This dude ran like a 4-3 playing running back. So Mondays we would get after them. And then Tuesdays it got a little tougher. Wednesdays they shut it down. I just remember just trying to look out for T. Marshall and Rocky Kalmus because those guys are pretty intense. I was so young, they felt like grown-ups. Like when you go to the league and you see those guys in the league and you're like, man, these guys are grown-ups. That's what those guys were to me. I said, these guys are grown-ups, dude. Like, I'm a kid, Yeah, just a lot of innovation I saw. Attention to detail. I remember one time slacking on the play, right? The leadership, Derek Strait told me, hey, go hard. So I can get the look, Coach didn't have to tell me that. The players was telling us this stuff, it was holding each other accountable. So the new stuff, I'm just going to be supportive. I got former players or former teammates that are coaching now. I was a coach before. I think it's important to be supportive. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's easy. I mean, in corporate America, man, people sit back and say what they think and all this stuff, man. You get in there. It's like actually playing. It's hard. It's pressure. It's all this stuff that you have to be able to perform. And, I think people, I believe in, honestly, listen, I believe in Bob. I do, wholeheartedly. Coach Riley, he obviously, left this thing for Riley to make it even better. So I've never met this man, but I think I'm just thankful. You look around the country. You have nothing but be proud about the Sooner Nation. If they make you proud, I'm all over the freaking country. People respect our program. Straight up. They respect it. I don't care what school it is. They respect our program. And there's how many people can leave that type of legacy Bob did? People are hoping to do something like that. What I mean? Listen, man, when there's head coaches change over, they usually wipe out all kind of stuff. And with the way Bob did it, wow, look at that. How nice is it to come back?
Great point.
When I went back and saw people that I remember, and they remembered me,
real.
Man, I could, shed a tear.
Yeah,
I could shed a tear, man, because it means a lot. I remember seeing Teresa Turner, and I just, I just had to say, I love you.
Yep.
I was a little punk, and she didn't make me she didn't treat me no different.
Man.
And then I thought I was her favorite, and I saw everybody else, and I was like, they love her too. I was like, oh wow, she does that for everybody.
Fantastic.
Wow, you know, Randy Garibay, this guy, you know, hey, at the end of the day, he told me about Buffalo Soldiers and the African American soldiers. You know, my history as a young African American guy. You know, all my Creek teachers.
Man.
You know, teach me the language and stuff. You know, the equipment staff. You know what I mean? I'm coming there asking for gloves. They like, hey, freshman, you ain't done nothing yet. You don't need any new gloves. I needed that.
That's it.
The trainers, the professionalism in there.
No
Scott
excuses.
Jim, those guys. You know.
Yeah, they were great.
That's stuff right there. You know, I've been at other schools. It's not like that. You know, some schools, you know, they try, but that, man. We are fortunate.
Yeah.
So the new staff, I'm supportive of them. Hey, do what you got to do. I mean, you know what I mean? And we got to be supportive of them and be supportive of those young people. Because at the end of the day, those young people, you know, the Roy Williams and the Derek Straits, all those guys, I remember when Bob Scoop down. I remember being at practice and like Barry Switzer would show up. And you'd be like, whoa, that's Barry Switzer. Or the Bonds would show up, or Keith Jackson or Ricky Dixon. That's you guys. That's us now when we show up to these young guys.
That's real.
Those guys did nothing but love on us. You know, and so listen, that's why we are the Sooner Nation.
Absolutely.
You know, and we're learning how to do it. We set the example, just like Coach Stoops did. He sets an example for the rest of the country. Joe Castiglione. He spent time. I remember walking and what's his name? This guy. Oh man. I can't believe I can't think of his name right now. But he was on me about my grades.
Okay.
Dr. Gurney.
Yeah, Dr. Gurney, man.
I was getting in trouble in class, and he was like, "Hey man, get your grades up, dude." And then I remember being down at a basketball game, being awarded for making the honorable mention All Big 12 academic team. And he looked me in the eye, and that look he gave me, it was like, you know,
good
like
job.
how Coach Stoops looks at us.
Respect.
And Joe Josie too. It was like that, you know. So it's bigger than football. It really is, you know. Football, man, it's something that brings us together and it's awesome, you know, but just as I've gotten older, I just want to show appreciation for everyone else too, you know, because without them, it wouldn't be us, you know, and the fans and the support that they give us, man. Didn't you feel, I mean, like you were something special?
Absolutely.
being
Still do. That's why I live in Norman, bro.
Me too.
I mean, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, I want to say, you talked about J.R. Estes. I mean, cut you off, but I walk into my first workout. I get something just told me to get there early. Or no, it was probably one of y'all told me get there super early. So I'm there like 45 minutes early, bro. And I see J.R. Estes doing weighted pull-ups. All 6'3", arms huge. And I'm like, damn, that dude got to be a DN to something. You know what I'm saying? Like, he big as hell. They come over, he like, nah, he a running back. And I'm like, no. No, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
So, and then you also talked about molding people. Well, let's talk about Schmitty first. We got to get into Schmitty. Will, my first day was just, I was like, man, I'm never going to be able to play here. I'm never going to be able to play. I'm never going to be able to make it through the workouts, like you said. I mean, the physicality on day one was one thing, but the workouts, the way my body felt, I'm thinking, man, we can go through all the stories of just people passing out, people falling out, people doing this, people doing that. But, you know, what was your first day like? Two, you talked about your relationship with Schmitty. You know, what did he mold you on? Was it just mental? Was it all physical? Just let me know. Do you still have nightmares like other guys do? Let me know.
No. No. I embrace nightmares.
Okay.
You know, because you can learn something from that stuff. I'll say this. I'll unpack that a little bit. You know, I'll say Coach Schmitty, you know, I owe him a lot. You know, I owe him a lot. He was the one that opened the door for me to get into coaching. And I'll forever be grateful for that. Because I was so immature, I needed more time in that structure before I stepped out into the real world, because I would have got myself in trouble or hurt. And so I'm so grateful. I'm grateful. Now, on a larger note, I mean, you know, mental, physical. Yeah, I mean, my first. So, you know, I came up from Houston. I had, you know, me and my mom, we had a falling out, whatever. And I love my mom, but we had a falling out. My grandfather, rest in peace, he's not here now, but he was actually my first coach. But he flew me out, $300 ticket. I'm in Norman that summer. And I had no workout gear. And I show up to the first workout with a polo on from high school. And Nate Hibble got me some gear. And, you know, didn't make fun of me or anything. He just, you know, went and got me some gear. You know, I remember laying in the dorm just chilling, sore. And Josh Heupel came and pulled me out of bed and was like, hey, let's do some 7-on-7s. Let's go. You know, so these guys were like, I'm telling you, they're like grown-ups. They were grown-ups to me when I was a little kid. I was a little boy, you know, and they didn't make fun of me or not. They just helped me to get better, you know? And, man, I just got a lot of gratitude for all that stuff, man. You know, I just got a lot of gratitude for it. Yeah. It was difficult. I mean, I can, you know, hear Jackie Shipp after, you know, and this isn't when I first got there, but it was like it was probably like my first winter workout. And, you know, we're doing all those station drills and stuff. And at the end, you know, if you're over, you know, his station was hard. It was the hardest, I think, station. So you want to do that one first, not last, you know, and then you figured out how to give effort and get the lean, and you can figure out how to, you know, but, or don't let the lines be uneven, because you're in trouble, because you're going to do an extra, you know, ooh,
that's
man.
That knowledge. That's that knowledge. Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
But, you know, but at the end of those, Coach Smitty would be like, you know, to each of the leaders of those stations, which were our position coaches, you know, basically a thumbs up or down. And if you got a thumbs down and you got your name, you know, one of the equipment guys would be there writing our names. You have to do, you know, laps around the indoor track.
Yeah.
And I will never forget this to this day. When Jackie Shipp, he goes, Coach Shipp, he was like this or this. And he would call out individuals most of the time, but this time he was like, the whole D-line. And I was like, what? The whole D-line had to run around. I was like, who calls out the whole D-line?
Everybody.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, talk about mental toughness. I saw Len Magruder, Bobo. I saw him, you know, remember how they used to break it up? It would be the stations, it would be a group, and then it would be a group after.
Yeah.
I saw him do both of them back to back.
No break.
Man, we saw some unbelievable. I remember the first time seeing Adrian Peterson walking in the door. I was like, man, I'm glad I don't play running back. Look at this specimen of a human.
You better get out the way. We're going to have to get out the way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Woo, ridiculous. Man, you got me thinking about stuff I haven't thought about in a while, JD. These are, you know, wonderful, wonderful memories. Yes. So I hope I answered your question.
No, you're great. This is what it's all about.
Going.
This is what. No, well, here's the deal: is I got to give you some credit because I want to hear about some of your time in Buffalo. But for the fans that don't know, Willie P was that big brother to me, Travis Wilson, and Juwan Rankins. Shit, when Willie P was supposed to go home and when Willie P was supposed to go home in the NFL, that cat would come back to Norman and bring us his NFL practice film and say, "This is how you get better. Yeah. This is what you need to look at. Look at Roscoe Parrish being quick right here. Look at this veteran. Y'all had a veteran receiver I couldn't even remember who nobody could guard.
Eric Moles.
Then nobody knew his name. Eric Moles. I remember that name now that you mentioned it. The savvy of that dude, the cells of. I mean, it just watching that. As a fullback, not even a receiver, made me a 10 times better receiver out of the backfield because I got to see what NFL guys were like. I got to see what the best cover guys were like. I got to see, oh man, a linebacker ain't gonna be able to do that. A linebacker, when I get him out here, he ain't gonna be able to blah 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 blah. And if I got this much time, if Molds has that much time, I mean, there's just so much that goes into football. But you helped us out a lot with that. Talk about your relationship with those guys. Just how you big brother them. When you came back with us, and what's your time after football? You mentioned going into coaching. You were at strength coaching at Indiana and Minnesota, I believe. So just update us on all that.
Yeah. Well, my time at Buffalo, I wasn't there long. I was a free agent, and but it was, I think the biggest thing that changed my life there was, football's big, right? So I grew up from Texas. I love football. It's a big deal. The head coach is a big deal. Go to Oklahoma. It's a big deal. Bob Stoops is a big deal. I go to Buffalo, New York for the Buffalo Bills. The former players are a big deal. These current players are a big deal. So we're at practice and training camp. All of a sudden, practice stopped. I was like, man, we had to get huddled up. And there was this older gentleman and these two other people with these suits on walking on the field. And they say something to us. I don't know. And I look at one of my teammates, the older guys. I said, hey, who's that? And he pointed up at the stadium. And it was Ralph Wilson Stadium. And that was the first time I said, okay, and that just changed my life. That changed my life. But, coming back, I just felt like I had to give back and just show some of the younger guys, like the guys before me did for me. Those guys, like I said, Savage and all those guys, they would try to help us. And I just try to do my part. That's all, and then, I got cut from the Bills. I had that transition time, which is difficult for all of us. You're going on this high of sports and then you try to figure out like, what do I do next?
Right.
I thought I was going to do all this stuff in football and all of a sudden it's not there anymore. And that's when my, faith in Christ grew a lot. My mom, I moved back home with her and she would, I remember laying in bed on Sunday mornings and she's, up early singing church songs and getting me out of bed and making me go to church. And it just, that stuff, is what helped me. It's a lot of, wasn't just going to church, like people were praying for you. It's just like the act, the act of getting your butt up out of bed and like going in there and like trying, right? You got to try, and she helped me do that. And then I was looking for jobs, right? I was trying to get jobs and I couldn't. I'm like, I have a degree and all these things and I couldn't get a job, and it was pretty tough, it was a pretty low point in my life. But, when there's a valley, that's when he does this thing. And sure enough, I wound up calling Jerry Schmidt and he got me in at Iowa. I had a position at Iowa. That was my first coaching job. And, man, I was raw, but that was the perfect place for me to go under Chris Doyle. He's, whatever with all that stuff, went down. But, man, he's one of the pioneers, that took strength and conditioning to the next level at the collegiate level. And I was able to learn under him. Also, too, shout out Coach Stoops. I know he helped me get in, too, because he played there. He was a captain on that team and stuff. And with Coach Hayden Fry, who's passed away now, I got to meet him. Kirk Ferentz, he's a great man. Man, it's just
huge names. Huge names.
If anywhere to go, that was the perfect place for me to go, because it was that structure, right? I heard Rufus Alexander talking about structure. And, being in a household and how we're resistant to it, when you have like a single mom or whatever, when men are telling you what to do, like I was in that boat too, and so I got that structure from these strong personalities and had to learn how to take it. And with the good and the bad, I'll be honest, that was I'm feeling pretty high and mighty leaving Oklahoma, but I saw some of the strongest human beings in that Iowa program. I've never seen humans that big or strong before. Now we can run and we can do all this skill stuff and whatever, but just talking about lifting weights,
Huge dudes.
Huge. So it was good for me to go there. And then, this Texas gentleman wound up getting a head job at Minnesota. And then, Corey Edmond and Mark Hill at the time were at Arizona. Or, excuse me, a guy from Texas got a job at Minnesota. Mike Stoops was at Arizona, and he had Corey Edmond and Mark Hill. So Mark Hill ends up getting a job at Minnesota, and he, connected with me and gave me an opportunity. Again, I'm forever grateful to these people. I'm not special. This is just my journey. It is luck. It is luck. There's a lot of people that are out there working hard or more deserving than me. It just was, they called me. I don't know, and I just try to do the best I could, to help these athletes, like my coaches helped me. And so spent 5 years there, and then another 4 at Indiana or so. So basically you put a decade in, serving. I like to say I coached probably over about 1,000 young men, in that decade. A lot of them are coaches. A lot of them coach in the NFL. They're scouts in NFL. They're strength coaches. It's a privilege to look back and be like, wow, it was a privilege, and I'm just grateful. I just have a lot of gratitude in my heart, I just do. Seeing these young people, and they're better than me. That's the thing. It's like the evolution with information, technology. I felt like I was an innovative coach, but today it's now the trick. Now what I noticed, because business is the same way. There's so much information, it's confusing, right? So you can get confused, and you can get too complicated, right? So Kevin Wilson, a quote from Kevin Wilson: "We lost a game at Indiana after our first year, last game of the season, rough year." And I was just pumped up, fired up in the locker room. I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the off season. We're going to grind. We're going to work hard. I'm all fired up. And Coach Wilson overheard me and goes, "Peeps, everyone works hard. How about try working smarter?" I took that to heart. And I've applied that to everything I touch. Everything I touch, I apply that. And then I evolved it, and I keep it simple. And, that's just kind of the way I live my life. A lot of gratitude, keep things simple, be respectful, respect the past, understand that the kids now, the athletes now, the coaches now, respect them. They're relevant today. My time has gone and passed by, and then look forward to the future, because tomorrow's not promised.
Real.
Like we saw the Kobe Bryant stuff, and you said something about the brotherhood, man. Shout out to all of our teammates, none but love for all of you guys, I think probably one of the biggest things as a young man I've learned to do, is forgiveness, right? And you wonder, hey, we're talking about football, but man, listen, football is life. You learn life skills in football, business. Come on, man. If you don't care, man, listen, my clients, if they can tell if I don't care about them, they can tell. They don't want to work with me if I don't care about them, just like we don't want to work with people that don't care, and so just gratitude, forgiveness, and then something supernatural happens. And then you have a lot of hope, and you can live, man. So,
man, Willie P, there's nothing that tells me we're a brotherhood more than, just kind of some of the things you talked about. I just judged kind of my natural reaction, man, when Book passed away. I mean, dude, I cried for a week straight. It was something I didn't even realize how much the dude had impacted me until I'm 5-6 days. I'm in Arizona training because I was still in the NFL. And one of my homeboys was like, "Man, are you okay?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. I really don't know." And we're going back and forth of whether these should go to the funeral or not. But again, I think it was that point where it was like, man, what we went through there was something different. Was we knew where everybody, even with really without cell phones, you knew where everybody was at every time. You knew where everybody lived at every person. You know, it didn't matter where they were. You just knew where, if something was going down, you knew who to call. You knew where to be. I mean, dude, think about how we had emergency team meetings without cell phones.
How did we do that?
How did they get across to us that we had an emergency team meeting Sunday at noon and everybody ain't got a cell phone?
You better be there.
You better be there. That's all. That's all you got to say is you better be there. But let everybody know, I could go on about that all day. Let everybody know what Willie P's doing out there. You got this beautiful scenery behind you. You know, I love the I don't even know, the necklace looks beautiful, man. But just let everybody know you open the show up with Buenos Dias. So let me know.
Oh man, I'm just here, you know, living my best life, man. Trying.
Where you at?
I currently live in Ohio. You know, my wife wound up taking a job out here, and so I moved out here back in the fall of last year. Was at Arkansas.
That's where I remember you
for several
last.
years before there. Which Arkansas was so good to me. I'm so thankful for those folks out there. Good people, a lot of Sooner fans out there.
That's what's up.
You know, we're privileged, man. We're privileged to say we were Sooners. And it means something to be a Sooner. And I don't know. I just living in all these different places and the respect those folks had. You know, that's why I started my business. I opened my doors out there. There were just so many good people, just people encouraging me. Here's this young African-American guy trying to take on the world and do something, you know, that I don't really know a lot of people doing, you know, and they were supportive, you know, and, but, you know, I mean, that's what I'm doing. Just working really hard, trying to grow this thing. It's a startup, you know, so, hey, you know, still learning. Definitely don't have all the answers, you know, figuring it out. But at the same time, you know, we've been trying to just really try to help as many people as we can, you know, because also, too, with the business, you know, the name of it is Purpose Protection. And the reason I came up with the name of that was because I felt like everyone has a purpose in life. And I felt like my purpose in life was to help protect their purpose. JD, you got kids. A lot of my teammates got children. Hey, what happens if something happens to you? Right? I started thinking like that. What happens if something happens to me?
Real.
How can I leave something for them that maybe I didn't have? So that's why I started that. You know, it's an insurance company, you know, nothing fancy, very simple, but it's evolved things while I've incorporated my family. We try to create, you know, sports is all competition, but what I noticed in business, you're really competing against yourself, right? So I compete against myself every day. So that's why I hike. I try to take care of myself. I try to stay positive, and try to, you know, just keep learning. God has put some great people in my life that surrounded me, and I talk to, I ask them questions. I try to listen. I pray every day. You know, they talk about this proverb where King Solomon says, you know, people always say King Solomon prayed for wisdom, but, you know, God showed me that he prayed for an understanding heart so he can serve his people, God's people, the best he could. So I pray for an understanding heart. So hopefully God will also add on wisdom and understanding, all those other things that come along with that. And I mean, I try, man. I'm a try hard guy. I don't kick off. I try hard. You know, I have a desire to win, you know, and if anything, that's probably what the Sooner Nation's about, is about winning, trying to win in life. And you learn that on the football field, and then you get into life and you try to win and have charity, right? In Corinthians 1:13, it talks about charity. Charity is love. Love, JD, hey man, listen, I probably did something dumb to you when we were kids, but you know what? We love each other, and we look over that. We get over that stuff. You know, that's love. And, you know, my uncle, he was a police officer. And listen, all this stuff going on, but I try to have love and show love out here in this community. I try to step out here and let people see this young African American guy out here serving, being a janitor. Go do something that's not glamorous. Go out there and do something and help people
every day.
And that's how I've been trying to live my life, JB. Trying to help people. You know, right? That's what you do with the privilege we have. We're privileged, my brother. We're privileged. Everybody don't have a head and a neck like you, man. They can't go and knock the crap out of people and catch the ball and be smart and do all that stuff. Everybody can't. And so you were privileged. God gave you that. So I just feel like as long as I'm breathing, I have to go serve. I got to go help people and be a difference maker. Yeah. Just like I try to do on the football field.
Yeah. No, and I love it. And, you know, that it definitely gave me thick skin. You guys, MC telling me I had a big head back in the day. That was all good. But it was just, it was a love. It was a brotherhood. You're like, hey, you ain't going to put that big head on me. You ain't going to do all that, you know. So just too funny, man. We're going to have to go on a hike sometime, man. Hopefully I'll make it through. But we're going to definitely have to do that. And, man, we definitely got to do this again. We got to get a few of the other receivers on here, let y'all snap back and forth or something, man. See what everybody's doing. But, man, Willie P, I got to say, brother, it's great to see your face, man. It's great to hear your voice. Like you said, man, I've thought about stuff I haven't thought about in 20 years. And this is going to be great content for the fans as well, man. I mean, not only just for us to reconnect, but for you to get your opinion out there, man. I'm so glad you enjoy the pod, man. That's one of the reasons why I keep doing this shit, man. I mean, you mentioned serving people, man, and being janitors. Our janitor at my school's name is JD. So we have a great relationship. I'm looking at him like, man, I couldn't imagine doing what you do. He looking at me like, I couldn't imagine doing what you do. So, you know, we both got a cool friendship there, man. And man, you really, really hit me, man, because it's you know, I think we forget in the profession when we are around kids daily, just the impact that you have and that it's lifelong. And it's very similar. I would say it's similar to an OU, but man, at OU, I go back to the knowing. I don't know where my kids are when they leave school. When Willie P left the facility, somehow I knew exactly where he was going. When MC left the facility, I knew where they were. Hey, what you? Okay, all right, yeah, blah 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 blah. I mean, you going to eat? Da, 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 da. I mean, yeah. I mean, the communication that we had, the connection that we had, that shit will never be replaced. It just won't. It just won't. I mean, I have the feeling, Willie P, I could call your ass anytime, and it's just like college again, and you would understand and take me under your wing the same way you did. So I owe you thanks, brother. I really do, because some of your compliments you don't realize. You know, again, saying I had a big head, if most people would have took offense to that, man. To me, it's just like, man, this dude cares about me. This dude sees me on film and is giving me some compliments, man. And so thank you, brother. Much love to you. Much love to your family. You guys stay safe out there. Keep watching the pod, but this is going to be a damn good one, brother. This is going to be a damn good one. So.
Well, hey, how can I help? You know, we got to talk offline, you know, because at the end of the day, like, how can I support, right? Like, you know, you see some of these other, like, sponsorships and different things, you know, I would put your money where your mouth is, you know, and that's what I want to do. It might not be much, but it's something, right? And creating an example too for the next generation on how to do business together and help one another. And yeah, all love, JD. You're a good man. Keep being a bridge builder. God is shining on you, and you got a lot of support with Nation, man. So
will do. Your memories are worth. Brother. Love you too, brother. You just come on here. Your memories are worth money. So that's all you got to do to sponsor me. So. Take care, brother. This will be another great episode of Fullback U.